Hello and welcome to the Daily Space for today, January 2nd, 2020. I am your host, Dr. Pamela Gay, and I am here to talk about the lack of science I have to put in your brain. Now, one of the problems with doing a daily show is you're supposed to put out content every day, and when the content you're waiting on is from the field of astronomy, sometimes there's times when there's just no new science really coming out. And while there continue to be papers going up on the preprint server, we're waiting to be able to bring you real people, real news that has informed content that goes beyond just the preprints up on archive. And this means that today what we're actually going to be doing is looking ahead to next week when all sorts of wonderful chaos is going to take place in Hawaii. Next week is the 235th meeting of the American Astronomical Society. I'm going to be there along with my co-host from AstronomyCast, Fraser Kane, and we're going to be capturing as much content as we can. And today I want to do a preview of what's forthcoming with that meeting and make sure you know what to look ahead to and also to find out what it is you want to make sure that we cover that maybe we haven't thought about before. So I see Keeper of Maps asking, has Betelgeuse exploded yet? No, it has not. I was able to finally go out and see it in person last night. And as near as I could tell, given all the light pollution in my neighborhood, Betelgeuse is currently the same visible magnitude as the leftmost belt star, which was really weird. It took me a minute to find Betelgeuse because I couldn't see the whole constellation because of the side of my house I was standing on. And so I had to walk around to the other side of the house to see enough stars to be certain, oh geez, that really is it, isn't it? Yeah, that was unexpected. So no boom yet, as Susie puts it, no boom yet. So instead of discussing lack of boom, we are going to discuss the American Astronomical Society Meeting. And I wanted to walk you through a bunch of the different stuff that's going on. So here you can see we have a meeting page that highlights the Polynesian history of the Hawaiian Islands. For those of you who don't know a lot of the history of the region, the islands in the archipelago that makes up Hawaii were originally settled by people from the Polynesian islands. So think Tahiti, Bali, Indonesia, Philippines. People made it through navigating by the stars across the seas, the vast distances, one tiny island to the next to get to those islands. Now, Hawaii was its own rich nation all the way up into the 1900s. And as its own nation, it was ruled by a monarch, and there was also a Congress that went along with it. I'm not sure Congress is quite the right word, but it wasn't straight dictatorial rule. Now, in the 1900s, Hawaii became a particularly tasty spot due to its location between China, Japan, and the United States, where it had a great deal of military potential. Negotiations took place that eventually led to Hawaii becoming part of the Americas and actually a state, because by making Hawaii a state, it made it possible for the land to be used in ways that we can't use American territories. Thus, it became where the American Pacific Navy was housed for a long time. Now it's split as well as in San Diego. That history, because it wasn't entirely the choice of all Hawaiian people to become part of the United States, and because this has happened within recent generations, there's a whole lot of people that really wish that Hawaii was still its own independent nation. And as more and more people from the continental mainland of the United States move to Hawaii, it's changing the demographics, changing the culture. And Well, in astronomy, this has started to raise problems. One of the things that is going to be highlighted throughout this conference, and here I'm going to click on over to the view a schedule at a glance. One of the things that's going to be happening throughout this meeting is a lot of discussion about the Hawaiian peoples and their history, and trying to essentially do, well, cultural mending. So I see Henny asking, how did Alaskans like becoming part of the United States? There, I have to admit, I don't know the history of the Inuits nearly as well. The Inuits have been able to maintain their history a bit better than the Alaskans have, largely because people aren't exactly flooding to Alaska and taking over the land. So looking over the schedule, I'm going to teach you a little bit, first of all, about how we meet and how these conferences meet, because it's radically different than what happens in other professions. I've been lucky to be able to attend both conferences of the astronomical community and also, well, conferences in the field of computer science. When I'm a speaker at a computer science conference, they cover all my travel, they make sure I'm fed, they cover my registration costs, and if I'm lucky, I get paid. They know that I'm there to make their conference a success. And so they make my ability to be at the conference a success. In astronomy, it's a little bit different. They sort of treat it like, well, this is just your job. You're supposed to be here. Suck it up. And so this means that, well, let's look over at the registration page actually for a minute. So to register for this conference, come on. I need to go back over to this tab. So let's say that I wanted to register for the conference. We're looking at, if you bought it early, which you better believe I did, $530. Someone who decides at the last minute that they're able to go, almost $700. And someone who registers on site, almost $800 just to enter the door. I'm a speaker at this conference. I'm giving 2 contributed talks, so it's not a huge big deal, but even the invited speakers are generally expected to pay all their own way. So this means, first of all, you're paying for the right to make their meeting a success. Just saying. So once you get there, you have to pay for your own hotel, you have to pay for your own food, you have to pay for your own airfare. Fraser, to go there as a journalist, is looking at spending $5,000 for him and his colleague. If you're a professor, you have to use your grant money to pay for this. If you have grant money, I don't have grant money. So I found some leftover money in a small pot that's covering my registration. Airfare, hotel, and food, I'm paying for that. So you pay money to go to one of these conferences. Now, let's look at the schedule and look at the things that they're looking on doing. This meeting actually starts on Friday with workshops. I'm not going to be attending any of these workshops. This is basically how people get various professional training, have different, so like there's a student orientation, there's various shows, but mostly this is where people update their skills. You show up to these meetings a couple days early and you learn. Now, Sunday, I'm actually going to be here giving a workshop. Not Sunday, Saturday. Saturday, which was on the same screen as Friday. Sorry about that. So Friday, here you see there's a workshop on how to propose to use the James Webb Space Telescope. There's training on how to be a better ambassador of science, training on Chandra, a variety of different things, including one of the themes that's going to be recurring throughout this meeting is how do we make astronomy more accessible to people that may have difficulty accessing it due to either physical limitations, in this case, visual limitations, due to diversity issues. This means, well, you're tired of being harassed, so you leave the field. So here there's a workshop on how to build sonification tools so that the way you communicate astronomy, you can tell the story of the sky using sound instead of just pictures. Samid did a job is asking, do they use all that money for something? They do. They use it to cover some but not all of the expenses of having equipment there, of shipping all of them there. So this is held by the American Astronomical Society. A bunch of so the American Astronomical Society staff appears. There are a couple of coffee breaks each day. They rent space. Thank you so much, Wayne Johnson, for the bits. Thank you. Now, coffee is limited in amount. Snacks are limited in amount. A lot of people don't actually succeed in getting either snacks or coffee. And they use this for building rentals and the computers and stuff like that you need to have so that people present. But the thing is, all this infrastructure also exists at computer science conferences. What they don't do is get a whole lot of financial sponsors to help them make the conference more affordable. So there's weird trade-offs. Okay, so anyways, there's a bunch of workshops Friday. Saturday, we have more workshops. And one of these is on improving your teaching. And this one, I'm going to actually be teaching people how to use new and social media, so like what I'm doing right here on Twitch, to better communicate astronomy. And I'm actually going to be highlighting Dr. WD-40 and how he holds his office hours here on Twitch. So basically teaching people that there's more tools than they may think about to help them communicate with their student. Sammy Adib, I can't say your name. Sammy also asks, so it also pays for the rest of the year? I don't know exactly how they spend all their funding. I just know it's a damn expensive conference. And yes, the coffee is limited. There was one year they actually gave us coffee tickets and we were only allowed 2 cups of coffee per day. There is usually a bar, but you have to pay and it's stupid expensive. So yeah, unlike computer conferences where like lunch is included in conference registration. Anyways, continuing on. I'm not bitter or anything. So lots of workshops. Now the real meat of the conference is going to start on Sunday. Now, if you notice, this conference is managing to entirely destroy a weekend completely. I don't know if it'll be Kona coffee. We'll find out. So then they do give breakfast to the people who help keep speakers on time, the chairs of the different sessions. So they're if you volunteer to make the conference work, so if you're a volunteer of the conference putting in extra time, then they will give you breakfast. Now, the way that we present our information is generally divided up into 3 different kinds of ways of conveying information. There are plenary talks that are long talks that really give the speaker enough time to explain the context, explain what's new, and give you real good new understanding of what's happening. So these are our plenary talks. Here we see that the current elected president, so the American Astronomical Society has 2 sets of leadership. There is the staff leadership, it's a nonprofit, and then there's the board of directors that is elected by the membership. So the elected president of that board of directors is Megan Donahue. And she's going to do an introduction, and this is followed by a plenary talk, in this case a prize talk, and it's going to be talking on how we've been exploring galactic nuclei in recent years. So the Raven Lillian is asking, do the volunteers have to pay their way? No, usually, well, okay, let me rephrase that. So there's 2 kinds of volunteers. There are session chairs who are, we'll get to this in a moment, in the panel discussions and the oral sessions, they're the ones making all of that work. They work their butts off. They get breakfast. Other than that, they still have to pay their own way. There are volunteers who put in a set number of hours during the conference. It's a lot of hours. I did it once. It was not worth having my registration paid for the year I did it. And they have to be where they're told to be, and they may not get to attend any of the sessions they want to see. So those volunteers, who are usually undergrads and grad students, they do get to attend for free, but they also don't get to see a lot of the conference. Okay, so the way we convey information, there's these plenary sessions that are about an hour long. I take that back. There's 4 ways. There's these workshops that are multi-hour. They're meant to help you develop your skills as an astronomer and a professor so you can do better at what you do in the field. Beyond that, we also do poster presentations. This is where all of your information is up, either on a large piece of paper attached to a board, or it's a large interactive computer screen that allows you to basically scroll through the information, and it can include YouTube videos and graphics. These posters, whether they're digital posters or physical posters, are usually up for a full day or half a day at some really specialized conferences. And you can walk around in a giant exhibit hall and basically wander along looking for things that interest you. And for a set time each day, the people who wrote those posters should be there so that you can ask them questions. So beyond the poster sessions, which is also where you can sometimes find coffee and snacks, in the same room as the posters, there will be exhibitors, book publishers, spacecraft missions that are there to try and inform you about what they do, to try and sell you stuff. The exhibit hall is usually pretty good. In the good old days when there was a lot more money, you could pick up a lot of really cool swag. You can still usually get a few posters, some postcards, and if you're lucky, a NASA calendar, but you really have to be there the moment the calendars go out because those go away instantly. So beyond these posters and workshops, we also have oral sessions. These are run in parallel, so there'll be a whole lot of different oral sessions going on all at once. So you have to pick and choose what you're going to see. And I'm actually giving one in the computation data handling and image analysis section, where I'm going to be talking about, well, CosmoQuest and how it is we're looking to move into an open source world. So I see Larry asking, when is the next decadal survey for NASA? May be done already. They're in the process of doing decadal surveys right now. I am hoping to catch some of the updates on that. That's one of the things that's going to come up throughout this conference. So let's see. Here we have, so there's oral sessions. Now within these oral sessions, each presenter only has 5 minutes to present. So all you have the time to do is basically say, this is what I'm doing, and get people interested and hope that they'll come talk to you later, hope that they'll come learn more later. This is good if you have a really quick, simple result, or like me, basically want to say, hey, we're doing this thing. Do you want to come join us? So we have orals, posters, plenary sessions. Town halls are like a plenary session, but in this case, it's organizations that will talk for a single hour. In this case, we have things like the National Science Foundation is going to do a town hall on their new optical infrared astronomy. NASA is going to do a town hall. The historical division is going to do a town hall. In town halls, the leaders of a group come out and say, this is the thing we're doing. And then just like a political town hall, people have the chance to give input, to make demands, to ask questions. You can often find out what people are most excited or upset about in the town halls. Beyond that, here we go, more orals. And along the way, tucked into here are different workshops that, for whatever reason, aren't labeled as workshops, but that's what they are. Now, throughout the conference, we also have press conferences. And we're going to focus in on those a little bit more in just a moment. I just wanted to finish giving you an overview of the day. So these conferences go the entire day. You can see that the plenary starts at 8 a.m. The schedule keeps going until 9 p.m. is when things end. And there are no breaks for food. You have to figure out what you're going to skip if you want to eat or live off granola bars in your bag. These are long days. So you pick and choose what you're going to do. Now, the meeting goes through. It officially wraps up on Wednesday, where you can see Wednesday is actually a short day with a closing reception that ends at 7 p.m. There's a few wrap-up things on Thursday. Okay, I lied. There's no wrap-up things listed on Thursday. I think there's actually a press tour to Mauna Kea on Thursday. I'm not sure why it's not here. Probably because it's only a press thing. Now, for the press, we have a lot of different things going on. And I'm going to this conference both as a scientist, and Trekker Kev is asking, recordings made available later on YouTube? Not for the meeting itself, but for the press stuff, yes. So here's where I wanted to open up the press kit. So, press conference schedule topics. All of the press conferences are going to be streamed out. And if you are a signed up member of the media, you can get access to that. And then you can watch. And I'm going to make sure that Annie and Paranor have access to that information so that hopefully we can boost the signal and bring this to you. Now, while I'm there, I won't have necessarily the bandwidth to co-stream it in location, but I will have the ability to come on after the press conference and answer some of your questions. So we're working to figure out how to make that happen in the background. Now, the press conferences, each one is themed with a variety of different presentations taking place. So the first press conference, and these times are Hawaiian, which is 5 hours off. So this 10:15 a.m., this is actually going to be 3:15, if I'm mathing it correctly, on the East Coast. Yes, Trekker Kev, these are the folks that bought Sky and Telescope magazine. So the first press conference we're going to be working to bring you is on Sunday. We're still trying to figure out how we're going to bring it to you. And there's going to be 3 that day. The second one is on one of these recurring themes that I mentioned to you, and this is the theme of diversity. So in this particular session, what they're going to be talking about is how do we get astronomy to no longer be a bunch of white men? One of the jokes when I first became an astronomer that I used to hear at conferences was everyone in astronomy looks like a white man, even the Asian women. And this is because more or less to learn how to succeed, you had to figure out how to blend in. And this is something that Carl Sagan spoke about in his book Contact, where he talks about how the lead character, Ellie, a female astrophysicist, learns how to drop the pitch of her voice so it would blend in better with the guys and would get their attention better, instead of being irritating, as well a lot of female voices are judged. This necessity to blend is something that is demoralizing, and you only want to do for so long, and then you say F this noise and you leave the field. And there's a lot more women in astronomy, a whole 11%, than there are, well, minorities who are colored. I believe that there has been less than 100 PhDs granted to people of color in astronomy in the United States. Like, ever. So at a conference like this, you can usually count the black people on your hands. This is a problem. And while Hawaii is one of the best places to do astronomy in the world, no native ethnic Hawaiian has gotten a PhD in astronomy. Why? So our field is trying to figure this out. So Hanny's asking, I'm sorry if I missed it, but will this conference talk about making new ground telescopes without hurting the indigenous people? So I'm going to get to that. Sort of. So here we're starting out on Sunday with a session talking about how we advance the diversity, equality, and inclusion in our community. Moving from that, we're also going to have a seminar about the Hubble Space Telescope. This one we will not be streaming so much. And then there's another press conference in this case. Here we've moved on to Monday. And here the news goes on to talking about LIGO, fast radio bursts, jets, and this is all grouped together under things that go bump in the night. Sometimes it's a bit of a stretch trying to figure out how to link everything. Also on Monday, we're going to be talking about TESS and its exoplanet discoveries. Tuesday is the Milky Way, and then here's that question you're asking about, how do we better work with the indigenous peoples? So Tuesday afternoon, we're going to be talking about the Mauna Kea observatories and the 30-meter telescope. And throughout the plenary sessions, there's also various sessions scattered in trying to focus in on Hawaiian tradition and focus in on the relationship to both the place and the sky. Now, Wednesday, we continue to keep having press conferences Wednesday morning, and I may skip this one out. As I said, I'm paying for this conference myself. So Wednesday morning, there's an event I was thinking of going to with Kyle, my husband, who's going with me on this trip. So I may skip this one out, but the live stream will still be out. So we have dark matter, Hubble constant, exoplanets, and figuring out the systems of these violent K-dwarf stars. Now, one of the interesting things is Ed Guinan, who's doing this press conference on K-dwarfs, he's also the person who's been following Betelgeuse. So I think either Fraser or I are going to try and grab a hold of him and talk to him more about Betelgeuse. So I see Sammy is asking, are there indigenous representatives at the talk? So let's go up. So there are no indigenous people talking during the Mauna Kea observatories and 30-meter telescope session. I just noticed that. That's a bit disappointing. There is at least one talk given by an indigenous person, an ethnic native of the islands. Oh, I'm sorry that you can't read. I'll make it bigger. Let me move this sideways to make it fit better. I'm completely failing at the resizing bit today. This design does not like me. I don't know why making it wider makes the sidebar go away. I'm not going to try and figure that out. Alrighty. So I hope that's better to read. So Tuesday, Wednesday. So Wednesday afternoon is the other interesting one that I'm going to try really hard to be at. And this is where we have folks coming in to talk about StarLink. These are astronomers talking about the impact of StarLink. We have other folks talking about mega constellations and their future impact. We have someone from Dark Sky Preservation. So again, this is a kind of biased set of speakers. So you don't have anyone coming in here to talk about, well, the societal issues of StarLink is how we get internet to remote locations. It makes sense in a way that these are the people who are there, these are the people who are presenting, and SpaceX isn't necessarily going to show up for no reason and spend $5,000 to be present. But this is going to be a rather one-sided dynamic. Now there is remote access and ways to get involved. So we will be working to co-stream this. So these are the main things that we're looking for. Beyond all this, let me go back to the block program. Within the plenary schedule, within the invited speakers, there, on one of these nights, I now need to find it, is a presentation on the island relationship with the sky. Of course, they make it hard to find. Let's see if it's listed under events. Program highlights. Let's see what this has for highlights. Plenary talks, town halls, attendee events, public events. So on public events, they're actually doing a star party. I don't know what this is. I'm going to take a look. Okay, so this is a historic astronomy talk presented for the public that is going to discuss, I'm just going to read this out loud. The AAS will welcome the general public to join meeting attendees at the convention center for a special joint presentation by Larry Kamara and Doug Simons entitled Physics of Po. It explores the intersection of astronomy and Hawaiian culture by examining the first 11 lines of the 102-line Kamuluipo, a 1,000-year-old Hawaiian creation chant whose name means beginnings in deep darkness. Kumara, an associate professor of the Hawaiian language, and Simons, director of one of the observatories atop Mauna Kea, discuss parallels between the text and the chant. So this is going to be one of the special events. I think that actually may be the only Hawaiian thing on the schedule. Let's look at the plenaries. So the plenary talks and the prize talks. No, I wanted to see the plenary talks. There we go. So, no, there's another one. So these folks are going to be talking about a sky above. In losing the sight of land, you discover the stars. I think I've seen a talk like this before given by the gentleman on the right, where it's talking about how literally when you're at sea beyond the sight of land, you have to navigate by the stars. Yes, ancient navigation techniques. So there's a little bit nested in here. The rest, I believe, wait, no, here's another one. Hawaiian astronomy perspectives and stewardship of the Mauna Kea legacy. Okay, so they're doing a pretty good job at getting them mixed in with the science talks. So my goal in going to this conference is going to be to get you as much content as I can. I'm going to be trying to stream out a daily summary of the previous day early in the morning. The time zones are really working against me. I'm afraid if I do an end of day summary, it's going to be 1 a.m. for people on the East Coast. So instead, I'll be getting up early and doing something not quite at a normal daily space time, unless I get really adventurous. Thank you, Refs Matt. Keeper is asking, can we vote on sessions we want you to attend and tell us about? If you can figure out a way to implement it, sure. I just don't know how to implement that. So Veronica Cure is asking, is there a way we can help? Tell me more about what you're thinking, Veronica. Yes, I would love help. All of us around here would love help. So my current plan is jet lag is going to be in favor of me getting up early in the morning. So I'm going to try and get up before things start, stream out a summary of what's been going on. And then during the day, do my best to attend the plenary sessions where I can learn in the longer times, attend town hall meetings where I can. I'm going to work on dividing and conquering to a certain degree with Fraser, who will also be there. And I'm going to attend the press conferences and then try and try and hop on stream, at least in the chat, to answer your questions as they come during the press conferences. Now, as part of doing this big event at the beginning of the year, I also want to start changing how we do things around here. I talked about this a little bit earlier this week. We used to do a regular newsletter, and then things just, with all the institutional changes of the past 2 years, just got a little chaotic. I'm going to work on bringing that newsletter back, but using it to bring you highlights of the biggest science news stories that week, things that are going on around CosmoQuest, and also a schedule of the things that you can hang out and, well, get your hands on. Now, to do this, I'm going to need to set up some software. And this, of course, is one of the big things that we're working on right now, is finding out what are the best ways to get involved with you guys and get things going. So Broken Symmetry asks, do we have any CosmoQuesters who live in Hawaii? That's a really good question. Do you have to be a scientist to attend these talks? No. Keeper of Maps is entirely right. You just need a credit card or to be an affiliated or not an affiliate, an accredited member of the press. So like Fraser, for instance, is going there as an accredited member of the press. And do they want a roommate, Bill? I like that question. So as I was about to say, one of the things that I'm working on doing is working to improve the software that we have and add features that make it easier for us to interact with all of you. So one of the things that I'm getting ready to do, sorry, I'm setting up my screen in the background so I can share with you what I'm working on. So one of the things that I'm working to do is I'm going to be adding in newsletter features. So I want to find a plugin that enables newsletters. And the one that we've been using in the past is MailPoet. So I'm going to go ahead and set that up again. Emails and newsletters in WordPress. Sorry, I'm just looking at all the different options in here. So I'm going to go ahead and install MailPoet. And one of the things that MailPoet is going to allow me to do, I'm going to network activate that sucker. Slowly go the wheels of the internet. Slowly. Keeper Map, I am brave, but you'll notice that I went to the other screen when I was typing in passwords and stuff. So I'm getting better. I'm I'm learning how to do things. I don't always line up my windows so great with the screen. Let's work on making the presentation a little bit better looking. So what I need to do is switch over to my main CosmoQuest site, go to the plugins. MailPoet is all set up. And what I want to do is figure out, how do I add failed to render template subscribers? Please ensure the template cache folder yada 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 exists and has right permissions. Oh, I'm sure it doesn't exist, and I'm not sure it has permissions. Okay, that's a different issue. Let me work on fixing that. So yeah, we're going to do all of this live. So those of you who are here for the news, feel free to wander away. At this point, I'm going to start building the things that allow us to grow as a project. And one of the things that I'm working on building today is a newsletter so I can keep you informed about everything that's going on. So Sammy asks, so people from Hawaii only have to pay the entrance ticket? Would be cool if people could stream live from all the talks. They actually don't allow you to stream live from all the talks. Yeah, I learned that one. CosmoQuest did that a long time ago. We had an NSF grant to stream out key presentations. But it was decided that they would rather hire outside teams to control all their streaming so they could make sure that they could best monetize the event, which I kind of get. It's like Twitch doesn't want you streaming out stuff. They want to stream it out so they can keep the revenue on their own channel. Okay, sorry, I am logging in to the server. Whoa, I misspelled clear in the most amazing of ways. All right, so let's make this readable. Didn't mean to make it that big. Just meant to make it readable. Still not really readable. Let's make that a little bit more readable. Okay, I think that's as readable as I'm going to get. So the error that I'm getting, which you probably can't read because I know that's too tiny, is failed to render template, blah de blah. Please ensure the template cache folder, and it gives me the name of it, exists and has right permissions. So I'm pretty sure it doesn't exist. So I'm just going to cd over there. cd/var/www/html/x/wp content. I'm going to see who owns what in here. And it's kind of a crapshoot on who owns what. Mistakes were made. So what I need to do is fix the permissions. And there's a shortcut command. Oh, I bet it's in my history. Let me look in my history. There's a shortcut command I can never remember for updating. There they are. These are the two lines I want. So I want to run 73 and 74. And it's going slowly. It's going far slower than I anticipated. All right, and now I want to do history again just to make sure that 74 is still 74. Yes. Okay, so this should fix all the things. I know that command, Keeper of Maps. I just know that I have a bunch of problems. I'm fixing everything in one fell swoop. Okay. So let's see if that did it. No, it's still sad. Oh, now it may be sad with, so unable to create cache directory. Why can't you create that? It should be able to create things. Okay, so CD, let's first check the permissions. Oh, it didn't actually, oh, I didn't show everything yet. That's the problem. Yeah. I just fixed the permissions. I didn't fix the ownership. Sometimes mistakes get made. Sometimes mistakes get made. Okay. There, it's happy now. It's happy now. Okay, so there should be a way to create a sign-up form that I can stick somewhere. I don't care about WooCommerce, folks. Forms. I just want people to be able to sign up. Okay, add this form to your sidebar or footer on the widgets page. Copy and paste this shortcode onto a poster page. Okay, so it thinks it's just a regular everyday widget. I'm good with that. So I'm going to go to widgets. And I'm going to, first of all, try and remember what my homepage looks like. So let's open up the homepage. So we've been giving CosmoQuest a different look lately, just because we're in the process of reinventing ourselves. And while I'm in the process of doing that, I've temporarily taken down our science projects. This will be constantly getting upgraded as I add new content, as I do more things. It's all a learning experience. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay, so let's add to the right sidebar blog. No, I don't want blog subscriptions from Jetpack. I want my Mail Poet, Twitter timeline Jetpack, social icons Jetpack, subscribe to podcast, recent posts, recent comments, Mail Poet form. That looks like what I want. Add a newsletter subscription form. Yes, let's add this to the right sidebar. Add widget. Subscribe to our newsletter. Create a form. Save. Now I have no idea what this is going to look like. We're going to find out. So I'm going to click on the Learn More. Hopefully it will be in the sidebar. Hopefully clicking the button will go somewhere. I apparently have a broken button. Okay, that is never happy to discover. And that goes somewhere completely not useful. Foreigners in chat. Okay, so I can see the subscribe to our newsletter. Wow, I have a bunch of other stuff I need to fix though. To subscribe to our weekly newsletter, simply add your email below. A confirmation email will be sent to you. Okay, so that works. We currently have nothing in our archives, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the Mail Poet forms and get rid of the C. Oh, currently it doesn't. Let me edit that. Okay, well, fine. Black, back. Let's edit this one. What do you look like? Weekly newsletter. Aha, edit display. Well, I guess we'll have a newsletter soon enough. I'm going to leave it there for now. So I'm going to write a newsletter later today. I'm also going to fix all those broken links. We're really here to try and change things. And you're going to get to watch me doing this. After the American Astronomical Society meeting, we're going to be working to have more voices helping us do the daily space. And this is going to free me up to spend more time working on software. I'm listening to you guys, learning from you guys. The Ravian Lillian asks, will the newsletter be a review of the news or something specific? So the newsletter is going to include highlights of the news, upcoming events that will be happening, as well as here's what we're working on in the software right now. Anyone who wants to help, you're welcome. So it's going to be a little bit of everything, and we invite you to be part of it. If any of you have things that you want to appear in the newsletter, just let me know. Find me on Discord. Looking to see if there's any other questions in there that I've missed. All right, I don't think I've missed anything so far. So, yeah, I'm going to work on fixing things so that we have no more broken links on the homepage. That's bad. That's bad. But I have the capacity to fix things, so I will. Next week, I'll be in Honolulu, Hawaii, bringing you all the news that's fit to share. And when I'm back, we'll be back to the daily space every day, and then working on coding and building CosmoQuest and getting back to doing science, which is why we're here. So, thank you. And thank you for the bits, Trekker Kev. Bill Nash asks, do you have a cron job that walks the homepage and checks for broken links? I do not. Do you have such a cron job you can share? I have to admit, I just built we're on a new server. I built Tuesday. I built it on Monday. That would be amazing, Bill Nash. It would be amazing. I'm going to add you to our Coders Den on our Discord, and feel free to hop in and talk code whenever. So yeah, I'm going to go get some lunch, and then I'm going to fix some links and working on getting out a newsletter. And I'll see you guys on the other side. Tomorrow is going to be Annie, because I'm going to be on an airplane. And then it all starts fast and furious. So Gideon Star asks, do you make a new website anytime you move to a new server? No. And honestly, 99% of what's on our new server is the old website. I just got rid of the homepage and one of the menu bars because they were deprecated. And Susie's asking, will there be a podcast today? No, there will not be a podcast today because this is random and chatty and there's no news. So we'll be back. We'll have more content than you can shake a stick at. And hey, there may even be an extra episode on Sunday. We'll see. Keep all your receipts for taxes next year. Yes, this is true. Unfortunately, you have to spend so much money before you can actually itemize that one $5,000 conference isn't going to get us there. But we'll try. We'll try. So I'll do what I can to make you proud. And I'll see you later. But for now, I'm going to try and find all the windows to click on so I can roll those credits. I want to click there. And I'm going to raid Oh Bother because he is off and streaming right now. So let's set up that raid. Raid channel, raid Oh Bother. And wherever you are in the world, have a fabulous morning, evening, or afternoon. And I'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye.